Welcome, everyone. It's Andrew Beach. I'm a teacher of self-education. I help professionals like you communicate your value to find great opportunities faster, whether you're working or not. That's through a pragmatic process of branding, planning, and effective networking. If you need help in those three spaces to land the perfect job quickly, then I'm the right person to talk to. Today is Career Happy Hour. It's Friday, 3 p.m. Pacific time. And this is when you and I get together as a community and we share. We share what we've learned. Maybe we share some news, some current events, things we're wrestling with in our career search or career promotion process. Many of us are looking to elevate our standing in our companies. Some of us are looking to find work that matters. That is certainly something that's top of mind for me, is finding a way to make a difference in other people's lives through my work. And if you have something like that you can cling on to, this process is a lot more fun. So as per usual, we encourage you to put your LinkedIn profile into the chat so that we can see that you're here, number one, and number two, that when you do so, what you're admitting to other people is that you're open to being contacted and that you're going to say yes when people reach out to you for a connect request and to do the networking. See, here's the thing. All of us know we should network. All of us know we probably are not so good at networking, or maybe not as good as we could be at networking. And we always could use a little help. And, the people that come to this this Friday event, this career happy hour or cocktail hour, or whatever you want to call it, are very helpful people. I've found that when I introduce to people through this platform or through this community, many people get value out of that and they meet new people as a result, and they'll find opportunity. That is the crux of why we're here today, is that we're here to answer your questions about career or leadership or talent development or what's going on in the marketplace, or how do I deal with this this Delta variant, whatever this is, going on right now. What are we to make of what's happening in the marketplace today? What are we to make of that? Well, you likely have some questions about that, right? What does that mean for interviewing? What does that mean for hiring? Are people going to put things off? I think they've put things off long enough. So we can certainly talk about that. And if you can, I will put something in the chat here just to make sure that things are registering. I'll just put welcome, and hopefully that'll come through on the chat overlay. There's a chat overlay on the right-hand side. So whatever platform you're on, whether it's YouTube, looks like we're on Periscope, which is actually Twitter, Facebook, and of course here on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the better place for you to put your content, especially professionally speaking. It's the largest professional network in the world. So why would we not be putting our information, our contacts, our connections, putting those together on LinkedIn? We should. But that doesn't mean it's the only platform. Some of us likely have connections or friends already on Facebook that we could leverage. Why not leverage those folks? Maybe they're not on LinkedIn. It's, we're not the end all be all here. But if you have any questions about career, getting promotions, how to interview, how to do certain things in career transition, that would be great. Hi, welcome, and thank you for putting your comments in the chat. Go ahead and put your LinkedIn profile there as well, so we know who you are. And of course, some of you may be coming here and you're kind of lurking in the background. You might be working. You don't want your friends, family, or employer to see that you're actively participating in this session, and that's fine. You could come into the private chat here in the green room. I call it the green room because it's where you can actually come on live, activate your webcam, and you and I can have a dialogue. I can actually coach you hands-on right now. If you have a question that's burning in your mind and you want to get some support, click the link in the description. And regardless of what platform you're on, there should be a link in there that says join me live now or something like that. Let me make sure I have that hooked in. appropriately into the, hi, Lisa, good to see you. Yeah, join me live. It says join me live for free career coaching or free coaching. And I will also put that in the chat because sometimes people miss that. And it's just the way it is, I suppose. Let me see here. I'm just trying to get the link to the different platforms. So if you want to join live, you want to activate your webcam and you want to have some hands-on coaching right now, you can do that. Just use the link in the chat or in the description or whatever platform you're joining on, and you'll be able to get that for sure. Hi, Aiden. Aiden, hopefully I said that right. Good to see you. CSO at stealth mode, medical. Excellent. Good deal. Good to see everyone. So if you have questions, please, by all means, put that in the chat. I'm certainly happy to answer. The other part of this is we need to expand this community. The whole point of LinkedIn is to expand our networks. And so the way that we do that is by sharing this broadcast and letting people know, hey, have you guys been to the Career Happy Hour? Andrew provides free career coaching. If you need support or need to get questions answered, then sharing this out actually gives this broadcast a little more legs. And I only ask you to do that because that's the only thing I ever ask anybody to do, is to share this or in some way get it additional exposure so that we can have more people so that it can help you. So I do this as a community service, as a way to give back. I'm only representing myself here. I'm not representing any of the companies I'm affiliated with. And so that's where maybe I'm a little bit different, is I don't expect to get anything from this other than an opportunity to serve you. So if you have questions, I would encourage you to put those in the chat. Certainly share this broadcast out, and then we'll go from there. Certainly there's a little bit of news that we could share here today. Let me see what we have on the docket. I'll go ahead and share my screen. I'll walk through the news. If you have questions, certainly you can add those in. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. So let me share my screen so we can walk through some of these things. And when we do, I guess that didn't work so well. Let me redo that one. For whatever reason, it was blinking like a strobe light. That was kind of wild. Anyway, so the reason we're sharing the news is a couple things. First, just to keep up on current events. Second, where is the opportunity? Where's the opportunity for us as professionals, as job seekers or what have you? Even if we're happy where we're at, we have to presume there's always something better. It's something I have to constantly remind myself of. Even though I have something that's great now, there could always be something better. And I always keep my eyes open, and I'm willing to listen when people want to talk to me. So let's go ahead and see what's in the news here today. So evidently, Toyota. Let me see what it says here. Make this a little bigger so y'all can see it. Maybe that's just a little too big. But it says here, Toyota slashed production by 40%. The global microchip shortage is forcing Toyota to dramatically slash worldwide production in September, scaling vehicle production down from 900,000 to 540,000. Now, that's huge. That's almost almost half. So it is 40%, but it's almost half of what they were producing before. And I think we're already feeling this, aren't we? We're feeling this in that the rental car companies, because nobody was renting cars, decided to sell those cars because nobody was producing cars. So there is demand, but there isn't a whole lot of supply. And that, generally speaking, means prices are going to go up. So that's a supply and demand equation. It says here, Toyota has been well positioned compared to its rivals and was able to maintain production largely on target until May, which helped vault it above GM in the second quarter as the top automaker by sales in North America per Fortune. Meanwhile, Volkswagen, the world's second largest car maker, warned it may have to cut output even more, citing a very volatile and tight chip supply, which is interesting to me because, there's a lot of chip manufacturers out there. Why are the chip manufacturers not able to produce? I mean, Intel's here. They're, I think, ramping up their own contract fabrication. And certainly that takes time to build a plant or a facility like that. My suspicion is where is the demand? I mean, where is the current supply going, or was there a hiccup in the consolidation of the industry as signals striking deals? Yeah. So, I mean, why is there a chip shortage? Is the big question. Is there a lack of raw material? Did all of those manufacturing facilities close down? So let me know in the chat what your feelings are on that, and why is there a chip shortage? It seems to me like they could ramp up chip production and so forth, but maybe we need to start a business. Maybe part of this is a good time to start a business to build some of these microchips. Maybe find a plant that's closed and see if it can be somehow adapted. I don't know. Are there anybody out there have that kind of expertise and want to maybe start a business that way? Then that's something to consider. Also, it might be you're the type of person that can do this kind of global sourcing. Maybe you're able to help these companies in your supply chain find those raw materials that they're not having, or find other manufacturing facilities to manufacture the chips and get them to the production line. Certainly that takes time as well. So there's lead time in any of these changes you'd be making. So what do you do with that? I mean, does that mean if it's 40% less that we're going to see a monumental increase in price? And if the price of cars goes up and people can't afford them anymore, are people going to buy them? I mean, that's the other side of this equation. Suez Canal disruption in the pandemic, apparently. Okay. I mean, I can see why that would happen, but the chips would certainly get there eventually. But maybe when the raw materials or what have you got there, it's an echo boom, right? It's the idea of an echo boom. And so you had the pandemic and there was a restriction, and then the supply chain, 6, 9 months, 12 months down the road, because some of these lead times are, 18 months at the onset to get some of these materials from overseas. It could be that's the issue. Good. So look for the opportunity in these things. Okay. So that's the first thing. The other thing here that I thought was kind of interesting is this idea of entry-level work. Newbies can't get entry-level jobs. So people just out of college or just entering the workforce can't get those jobs. And it's interesting to me that they're reporting that entry-level jobs often demand years of work experience across a number of industries, according to LinkedIn's latest workforce report. So if you haven't looked at LinkedIn's workforce report, I would certainly somehow get integrated or on their mailing list, because these reports are really fascinating. LinkedIn has become the de facto standard for the talent function, and a lot of data flows through those areas. So here what we're seeing is employers are asking for 3 years of relevant experience for an entry-level job. I mean, that doesn't make any sense to me. That's on 35% of their postings per an analysis of 3.8 million jobs posted online. Okay, so they're taking their research from posted positions. That doesn't mean those are the people getting hired. They may ask for 3 years experience, but are they getting someone with 3 years experience? They may not. Of course, there's likely a standard deviation. They're probably getting some people with more and some people with less. That's true of any industry. And it looks like this was a 3-year study since 2017. If we believe that job postings are a source of truth, then I think we're fooling ourselves. Job listings are a wish list, and they may not even be representative of what that company really needs. So we can't go into it thinking that, hey, I shouldn't apply for that because I'm not qualified. Just the opposite. We should apply and find another way to present ourselves to that organization, not just leaving it at the application resume saying that's good enough. It's not good enough. It's been proven over and over again that that's the least productive activity. Now, I recognize that there is a chance, right? Kind of like, what is that? Dumb and Dumber, right? So you're saying there's a chance. Yes, there's a very small chance that you could get hired from an application resume. And your mileage, of course, may vary, or your experience might be different than most of the folks that I've coached. You might have been really lucky in getting opportunities through that method. But it says here, by contrast, industries like public safety and retail have a more modest demand for work experience. Why? Because they have a higher need for talent. Okay. They're willing to take someone and make them what they need to be. And I think that's a more refreshing approach, is that organizations ought to look at people as, hey, we want to find high potential people that we can make them what we want them to be. We don't want someone coming in with 3 years experience that provides us something other than or counterproductive to what we're trying to accomplish as an organization. Good. There's some observations here in the chat. Maybe we have some news on the chip production. Complex manufacturing process, and U.S. manufacturers have walked away from this type of production over the last 2 decades. So the ramp up takes time. Yeah, I mean, maybe now is a time for them to have a contingency plan. Seems kind of short-sighted to me, but this is where maybe coming in as an outside consultant and helping them deal with the contingency planning in their supply chain. I think that would be a valid service that you could provide. Lean supply chains when there is an unforeseen and unprecedented demand boom of computers and laptops. Okay. Yeah. Add in labor cost differential in China, and it creates uncertainty for this type of significant capital investment. Yeah. Well, and certainly diversifying your production locations is a good idea. So some of us have likely some work experience or some assets that we can bring to this equation to make that situation better. So actually, the other thing I would recommend is, if you haven't done it already, LinkedIn does have a blog, and they do share information through that blog, and it's on, I think, an RSS feed, and you can get emails through LinkedIn announcing these different blog posts. So look up LinkedIn blog, and I think you'll find some good information there. So I also found this kind of interesting as maybe a market opportunity for someone if you want to find an area to learn a new skill or something like that. It appears that the tech firms are exploring what's called the Metaverse. Facebook's Mark Zuckerberg believes the future of the internet is the Metaverse. Well, what does that even mean? It's a good question. It's effectively a mashup of virtual reality, a multiplayer game, and the internet. Think of the sci-fi novels Snow Crash and Ready Player One. The idea is that people can work, shop, attend events, and more in an extensive and interconnected online world. Per the Wall Street Journal, likely a subscription is required to read this article. Companies such as Roblox and Unity Software are building it out, and tech giants already lining up to influence how it takes shape. What is that right there? Well, now I can see 3 organizations that I might target if this is an idea that's interesting to me. If I want to sell this idea, if I want to build this idea, if I want to be a part of something like this, I would add to a target companies list of some kind and start meeting people at places like Facebook or Roblox or Unity Software, etc. Right? Any people that are engaged in virtual reality, multiplayer games, and the internet. And that's becoming a thing. It's becoming a thing for sure. So there is market opportunity here. If a company like Facebook is investing in these thoughts, these ideas, to do some R&D and kind of see how they can make that happen, and maybe even acquire some companies, great. See what you can do to make Mark Zuckerberg's dreams come true, if that's something you're into. And I see that as I'm always looking at things from a couple of 3 perspectives. One, is there a business opportunity here? Is there a market opportunity here for me, professionally speaking? And are there people I should meet in this area to see if this is even something for me? So if it's something that you want to peel back the layers of that onion, this is how we kind of do some research. The nice thing about, I guess the thing that makes the networking so much easier for me is when I'm peeling back the layers of an onion this way on something that really is exciting or interesting or in some way drawing me to it. So keep that Keep that in your mind. Now, here's a definite market opportunity, and I found it very interesting when I saw that T-Mobile had a breach of their systems and exposed 47 million accounts. They confirmed that those 47 million accounts included things like social security numbers, personal information, phone numbers, and addresses. I mean, the whole shoot match. And it was interesting to me as I started reading some of the comments. It was all people from cybersecurity saying, this has happened before at T-Mobile. And, it was just really interesting to kind of read what these people were saying. See, these people are in that space. And anyway, but there is definitely now a market opportunity at T-Mobile. There might even be an opportunity for a lawsuit. So if you're a lawyer, it might be an opportunity for you to take on clients that are interested in suing T-Mobile for exposing their private personal information. It might also mean that we as individuals ought to take this a little more seriously when it comes to protecting our personal information. Now, the question is, why would T-Mobile be keeping social security numbers of account holders that aren't even customers anymore? That is a bigger question. So there's a lot of things here, current, former, and prospective customers. So wait a minute, you have the social security number of people that used to do business with you? Yeah, I don't know about that. That's we're gonna see. There is certainly something to be said there on any platform you're on to protecting your information, having emails and passwords not be something easily guessed. So, and there's ways to do that. You can create emails for specific accounts and have those forwarded to your Gmail. I mean, there's ways to do that. There's technology out there to make that happen. In fact, I ran across a guy who did that. So maybe there's a market opportunity for that. I know that, who is it? I think it's Capital One. They do the credit cards that you can get different numbers so that when you're shopping online, that credit card number is only good for like a certain transaction or a certain time or, a specific retailer. I mean, Capital One's really got their act together as far as I'm concerned on a lot of these areas of concern. No company is perfect, and every company has a high bar to pass in terms of security to protect their customers. But as far as I'm concerned, Capital One's probably at or near the top of the list. Good. So that's T-Mobile. Let's see. Oh, we already did that one. Let's see here. Now, here's the other thing. We've been talking now for a long time, 18 months or more, about this concept of work from home and hybrid work and people going back to the office and what is that going to look like? Every organization has a choice to make. But it's interesting to me how things change, and then it seems like they're going back to normal, and then they change again. The Delta variants come out, and it's created a lot of hiccups for organizations that were intending maybe to go back to work here by October. I know many companies were kind of shooting for October as a time frame. Now they're pushing off till next year. So it says here, as more companies offer employees a choice of either going fully remote or working a hybrid schedule, many workers are delighted. Yet, will those workers who choose to return to the office gain more attention from their superiors? Yes, they will. I mean, the truth of the matter is, if there's leadership in the office and they're unafraid to be in the office and they want to run from the office, then, those people are going to be seen. And if you're working from home, then you're the unknown commodity. No brand, professional or personal, was ever created in a vacuum or out of sight. So being out of sight, out of mind does have its consequences. So keep that in mind. That's more likely to get a promotion or a raise. Report from the Wall Street Journal argues that this will be the case for most in a two-tier marketplace. While perhaps unfair, face time still matters. That it just means, so here's what that means. Here's what they're saying. If you decide to work from home and you still want to get promoted and advance in your career, you need to be a lot more deliberate in interacting with your teams and your people and your superiors. You need to curate and manage that relationship. It takes a lot more energy for sure. So even though you're home and you're getting the benefits of work from home, you're not getting the exposure you need to be successful a lot of times. Let's see what else it says here. Interns who work remotely yet manage to create water cooler moments with their bosses significantly increase their chance of being hired. That is absolutely true. That's true of anything, not just interns. In hybrid workplaces, some employee benefits, such as flexible time off, will be expanded, while others, such as on-site childcare, may less be needed. Yeah, there's going to be a change in benefits. There's no doubt in my mind that if you're at home, you have to create a home environment in which to work, in which to, and that's individual to each person, which isn't bad. It's just a different expense. And what does that mean? Well, there's a market opportunity there. If there's companies or organizations, or, if you're an IKEA contractor, or something like that, you could create a business creating home work environments that are ergonomic or that sort of thing. Yes, it's a one-on-one direct-to-consumer business, but you could probably also offer that as a service to a company. And maybe there's organizations already doing that. So good. Any questions? Put them in the chat. I am happy to answer anything related to career, marketing yourself, networking, interviewing, resume, if you must. Happy to answer those questions as well. And then certainly if you want to put your question in the private chat, just click the link that's in the description to join live. Just put your name in as anonymous. Don't put in your real name. And then put your question there, and I'll answer it anonymously. So, who wins in hybrid remote? Well, I guess that remains to be seen. So, what's our next story here? Let's see. Diversity as a factor in tech exodus. Interesting. Millions of people have left their jobs during the so-called Great Resignation, and new research shows a lack of diversity in tech factors into the industry's exodus. A report by academic publisher Wiley found 50% of 18 to 28-year-olds said they left or wanted to leave tech or IT jobs because the company culture made them feel unwelcome or uncomfortable. Unwelcome, uncomfortable. Now, here's the thing. Let me pause right there. And if we're talking tech companies or people that are kind of awkwardly geeky or that sort of thing, I'm not painting with broad strokes. I'm just talking about certain populations of people that, in my experience, when I interact with engineers, a lot of the engineers I've interacted with, they are awkward and uncomfortable all the time. And, it's not always on the company to provide that kind of feeling to you. Now, they can do things to help or harm, don't get me wrong, but it's up to you as an individual in high tech, if you're in engineering or kind of the introverted type, to become more versatile in that capacity. Not to say that it says here, with higher percentages among women, Asian, Black, and Hispanic respondents, some 68% said they have felt uncomfortable in a tech role because of their gender, ethnicity, socioeconomic background, or neurodevelopmental condition. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that this is anything new, but it does indicate that there's a long way to go in terms of diversity. Now, Josh Bersin, actually, I listened to one of his podcasts recently. I thought it was really interesting how he described it, is that there's really, diversity is not something you can evidently measure, and it's not something you can create. It's a feeling. And so I thought that was interesting. So he said what you can create is belonging and inclusion, right? You can make people feel included, and you can create belonging. And so I thought that was a different approach. I'd never heard it put that way before, that if we're talking diversity, equity, and inclusion, and that's kind of the hot topic right now, then how do we do that if it's a feeling? And measuring feelings is really, really hard. So maybe we can't create diversity. That's an outcome or a feeling of belonging. We can create belonging. That's something we can do. Let's see. Exactly. It's these populations that have felt unwelcome, nor the geeky white males. Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. And so some of this is certainly have to look at the research, but my suspicion is this isn't as big a factor, the diversity piece in this, as people are starting to see the value of work from home and flexibility. What they're really saying is they don't feel welcome because everything changed, right? I now work from home. I'm not around anybody. I'm isolated. So even as an introvert, even though I was around people and I didn't like it, I hate this worse, right? I hate this, or I hate this much more. Being alone and being isolated is not helpful to anybody. Good. Any questions? Certainly put those in the comments box or the chat box or whatever you want to call it, and I'm happy to answer. Good. So what's the next one here? Toys R Us is back from the dead. I thought that was interesting. I drove by an old, I think, Babies R Us store the other day, and it's now an auto parts store. But I thought it was funny. But it looks like they're partnering, and I thought, this is genius. I don't know why they didn't do this sooner. But it says here the store in a store concept just got a new entrant. Toys R Us is teaming up with Macy's at 400 of the department store locations. It's the beleaguered toy chain's second attempt at relaunching in the past 3 years. The brands are targeting millennial moms who might come into Macy's for toys and stay for some higher margin items. Well, I would think it'd be just the opposite, right? I might be coming to Macy's for some nice linens, perhaps an outfit, a dress, some shoes, and oh, by the way, since I got my kids, they can go upstairs, play in the toy department, or I can take them up there and get something, right? So that I would think it would be the other way, right? I'm coming into Macy's for whatever Macy's has to offer, not the fact that they have a Toys R Us, and I think that would be a good combination. Let's see. Macy's for toys and stay for some higher margin items. Target and Nordstrom have recently attempted the store in a store concept, which has grown in popularity, with Target opening up small Apple and Ulta makeup shops at several of its locations. Yeah, I mean, this is honestly nothing new. This concept is in retail has been around for a while. With I think the first that I can remember, because I worked retail when I was in high school and college, was Ralph Lauren, right? Ralph Lauren inside of at the time Meyer and Frank or other department stores. I think also at Nordstrom, but they and Tommy Hilfiger, at least in the men's area, I'm sure they've got something similar in ladies, but this isn't anything new. I think what Toys R Us is trying to do is get back into the retail game, when truthfully, which is a hands-on game for toys, right? Kids like to see, hold, and play with toys before they buy them. And with the idea of the the retailers like Amazon and everything going direct to consumer, people just aren't going into stores anymore. But I think that trend is changing, because there's still things that we need to see, look at, try on. And as much as I can appreciate Zappos and buying shoes online, I still like to go to a store, try on the shoes, and see if they work for me. I don't want to have to go through the pain and the hassle of shipping them back and getting a different pair and all of those different things. And I certainly don't want to cause a situation where a retailer has to undergo additional expense just to make me happy. I just don't understand that concept. Anyway, let's see. If you deduce from Activision Blizzard, it is about diversity proper. Yeah, I mean, if you want to go deeper on that concept and look at some of Josh Burson's work, you can look him up on LinkedIn. In fact, you could probably just find him, Josh Burson, and I, here's his profile. I will put it in the chat here. At least the chat is what I see on my side, but I'll put it also in the comments of the video. But you can see that, Josh Burson. Okay. Good. Let me see if there's any questions for me to answer. Any questions for me to answer? If you have it, that's great. Again, share out this thing. I'm happy to have more people join. So I'll go ahead and put Josh Burson's link into the LinkedIn stream as well. Good. Any questions? I'm not coming here to hear myself talk. I'm coming here to see what I can do to add value to you. Look at my friend. My friend, is he here? Is he still here? Ralph. Relford Drayton. I haven't seen you in ages, my friend. How are you? If you want to come on live, you can do that. Oh, you're in Portland now. Really? Are you really in Portland now? Oh, still in Portland. Yeah. Yep. Ralph. I miss Ralph. Hopefully you're doing well, my friend. Thanks for recognizing me here on the stream. I don't see any questions here. So I'm going to sign off if there's no questions that I can answer, or if you don't want to come on live and get some free coaching, which I'm happy to do, then I will sign off and wish you all a great weekend. And you can come here every Friday, career happy hour is something I do every Friday, 3:00 Pacific time. I'm here specifically to answer your questions. And perhaps we go from it that way. Finally, a question. Thank you, Amy. Gosh, I need to work on that, Amy. It says here, what are your thoughts on the quality standard of those retail stores in terms of shortage of staff, etc.? I think they have a tough job. I mean, same with food service, right? Restaurants. Every company right now is struggling to get good talent. And that's true just about everywhere. And what I'm sensing is that the quality standards aren't going down. It's the fact that they don't have enough people to cover. And so people are exhausted. People are stretched thin. I don't know that the quality is going down, but I can imagine that it will go down if this continues, and price will probably go up, because you're going to have additional accommodations to make with, I'm seeing a lot of bonuses in retail. I'm seeing bonuses in things like food service, where if you sign on with a company, you get like a $1,500 bonus, and you're getting paid well above minimum wage. So it's interesting what's happening, and it's certainly long overdue. But I don't know that I don't know if I've noticed quality going down. I noticed, what have I noticed? Well, I mean, the only thing I can really relate to is maybe something at a home supply store like Home Depot or Lowe's, but they didn't have, in my opinion, they didn't have good service prior to the pandemic. So it's not something that actually improved. The companies that I'm seeing actually managing this really well had adapted quickly to a touch-free, touchless, whatever you want to call that, experience, where people came, got their stuff, and left, and we didn't have to interact or anything. So that's people who did that on their own. It wasn't people that or companies that did that. Let's see. Another question from Amy. Thank you. How about hiring people who really need the jobs? Yeah, I mean, people really do need the jobs. And so then, and I'm not making excuses for these organizations, but what I'm experiencing on that side is, just as there's short staff in retail and food service and all these other things, there's short staff in the staffing function, right? The HR recruiter function is that they're stretched thin. They furloughed or laid off or closed, or these people had to go find other jobs because, you know what, they couldn't even be open. So now they had to let these folks go. And now what I have to do, it's almost like staffing an entire restaurant from scratch. You know how hard that is to open a restaurant and staff it from scratch and expect it to be easy, and then also be able to seat as many people as you sat before. It's not going to happen right away. Same in hospitality, right? Hospitality. We talked several weeks ago about the fact that general managers and executives were cleaning hotel rooms. Why? Because they didn't have enough people in the housekeeping function to clean the rooms and make them available for other guests. So that's just par for the course. You're going to have to either offer less service or to maintain the same quality of service, you'll have to charge more. That's just the way it is. That's the way it's going to be in the interim until things get back to quote unquote normal. That's how I see it. But I think we have to look at that and say to ourselves, what is it that I bring to the table? And if it's truly a labor shortage, then this is a good time for me to find something better than what I already have. Or if what I have isn't optimal, it gives me additional motivation to maybe reach out to more people on LinkedIn that are in the space that I want to be in and see how they got there. Learn from them, establish connection, make conversations happen. Ask them about their career path. Be yourself a journalist, investigative. The best type of networking, in my opinion, is when you make it about the other person and you try to make them feel comfortable and the center of attention. Because people who feel comfortable, center of attention, and you've got instant rapport, are more likely to help you because they feel like you're not in it for yourself. Okay. Good. Any other questions out there? Happy to answer. Put them in the little box, right? In LinkedIn, I think it says comments box. I guess it's a comments box. Anyway, we've got good. I think that does it for this week. I don't see any other questions here, so I do appreciate your attendance. I'll see you next Career Happy Hour. Geez, here's another question. They keep on coming. Okay. So here's a question. Has anything changed for people unemployed that were immediately rejected just for being unemployed? I'm in HR and I've never understood why others in HR or organizations do this. It didn't fit on my screen here, so why do this? Okay. No, I mean, I think that's an individual bias. And if you think that none of us have bias, I have some oceanfront property in Arizona to sell you, because all of us, in my opinion, have bias. We're either aware of it or we're not. And if we are aware of it, we can do something about it. If we're not, we need to be made aware of it by another person. So this is an opportunity that if someone rejects me as a candidate, that I can call them on it. I don't see how that's relevant to my candidacy. Here's the value I bring to the marketplace. I think I would be a great fit for this company. And I think it's unfortunate that you feel that way. And I want to move forward in this process. What is it going to take for me to get to the next phase of the interview process? Because often it's how would you call it? There's two parts to that equation. One is, how did you get there, right? What's the nature of your relationship with the hiring team, and all the things that might help you overcome said bias, because you have a trusted relationship. They know you can do the job, right? If you come in as a known commodity, then I have to come up with some reason that I'm going to select this one over you without appearing to be violating compliance. And so I don't know if you're ever going to get the unvarnished truth. And I'm talking to somebody in HR, so you probably know this to be true already, that there is compliance, and a large portion of HR, unfortunately, is compliance. And if that's the case, then I have to come up with a reasonable response when people don't get the job, if I provide any response at all. Good. Thank you for that question. Looks like it was Letitia. I appreciate you. I hope you and many of your friends and others come back every Friday, 3:00 Pacific time, to add value and make this a good environment for all of us to interact and help each other out in some capacity. Yeah. So, I mean, Letitia, I don't understand it either, just to answer your question. I don't believe in it, but we certainly need to advocate for ourselves and have confidence when we go into an interview. Nobody is going to know we're unemployed until we get to an interview anyways. They might presume we are, but they don't know for sure. Even looking at a resume might say that you have an end date on your first role and experience, but it may not be accurate. It may be that you're doing consulting or some other thing on the side. Anyway, there's other ways to overcome that objection. And it is an objection. It's not a condition to employment. There's a difference, right? Conditions are, hey, if I wanted to practice law, I have to have a law degree and I have to pass the bar, right? If I want to be a lawyer and practice law in certain official capacities. Same with the doctor, right? If I wanted a doctor, I'd probably need an MD or some variant. I need to pass the exam. I need to get the license, and I need to, be with a managing physician of some kind, perhaps. Right? There's certain conditions required. Now, an objection is, hey, we're looking for 5 years experience. You only have 3. That is not a condition of employment. That is an objection. What they're saying is that the quality of your experience is not as good because you don't have more of it. And I think that's silly, but that you can overcome that objection through relationship and persuasive communication at the interview. And if that's something you need, I provide those services. But that's not why I'm here. I'm here to add value to you, answer your questions, and see how I can be of service. All right, folks. Well, thank you for your contributions. I do appreciate it. I'll see you next Career Happy Hour. And take care. Stay safe. Wash your hands. Wear the mask. Do what you feel is appropriate for you to stay safe. Bye now.